Good evening. If you can hear me, Benedicta, do you kindly request to join as a guest? Awesome. Good evening, Benedicta. I believe you can hear me.
Okay. Yes, I can.
Can you hear me, Benedicta?
Yes, I can
Okay. I'll need you to. Let's just hold on a bit for our second guest to join in.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, it seems like she's here. Good evening, everyone. I see Louisa. I see Fatih. I see Priska, Ovi, David, Ella Tanko. Thank you for joining in. Ruth, could you kindly request to join in as a guest? Okay, Benedicta, while we wait for Ruth to join in, could you turn on your video so our participants can see our guests for tonight? Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Sorry, I'm trying to
How?
turn on my video.
Okay.
I'm fine, thank you.
How's your day today?
Thank
First, you had a
you.
short time at work.
I did.
Awesome. We will just give Ruth 2-3 minutes to join you.
Okay, no problem.
Yes. Thank you. Awesome. It seems our guests are complete.
Hi.
Good evening, Ruth.
Hello. Good
Great
evening.
to have you tonight.
Thank you.
I trust you had a good time today.
Yeah, it was a busy day, but thank God.
I can imagine. It's great to have you tonight. Thank you for finding our time to join the conversation.
Of course, I will be here. Thank you for having me. Most importantly,
Okay, it seems like Benedict is having some network issues. So I will just start by
myself,
reading out. Sorry?
you said it looks as though I'm having a network issue.
Yes, Benedicta, our second guest for tonight.
Oh, okay.
Let's just give her maybe 2 minutes to join in so we begin. Thank
Sure,
you.
that's fine. All right.
Awesome. Seems like everyone is here and we can begin. Thank
Yeah.
you, Benedicta. Thank you, Ruth. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, Onyechi, Lauren, Parasite, Asmau, Jennifer. Really great that you could join us tonight. So I will just start with reading out the bio of our amazing guest. I mean, if you're not with a notepad, you should go get one now because we are about to be blown away. So thank you very much. So let me start by sharing on our amazing guest, Ruth. So Ruth C. Okafor. I believe that's Ruth Chidima Okafor. She's a gender and good governance
Yeah.
advocate, currently working as a programs officer with Connected Development Code. She's experienced in managing projects tied to gender equality, youth development, and social accountability. Ruth performs programmatic roles and is a gender advocate with a knack for societal development and sustainability. Ruth has led campaigns to influence policies affecting youth, women, and girls across various communities in Nigeria. Ruth has a knack for mobilizing community members, youth, and women for social change and advocating for the rights of the girl child and women. She's a graduate of chemistry from the University of Imo State, Owerri, with a diploma in project management. She believes in creating a thriving environment for young people, regardless of their ethnicity, gender, or group. Ruth enjoys sporting activities, music, and deep-rooted conversations centered around society and development, just like we're having tonight. We celebrate you. Thank you for joining, Ruth.
Thank you for having me once more.
Thank you. And our second guest, Benedicta Beido. Benedicta is a Nigerian lawyer, human rights activist, and a policy analyst with experience in parliamentary affairs. She is the co-founder of People Justice Initiative, a non-profit, non-governmental legal and advocacy organization committed to providing legal education, protecting and advancing human rights, access to justice, social justice, and ensuring transparency, good governance, and accountability in Nigeria. Benedicta Beidou is also a legal researcher. She writes articles and legal opinions which are published on various media platforms. Welcome, Benedicta Beidou. It's really great to have you tonight. Yes, so tonight we shall be discussing a very interesting topic, bridging gender gap in Africa's political space. Bridging gender gap in Africa's political space. I mean, there's a whole lot of conversations about gender disparity in different sectors, education, employment opportunities, and access to diverse opportunities, socio-economic, and the likes. But tonight we want to look at the political space. We want to look at the political space. So we know that women's equal participation in government is central to democracy and achieving sustainable development. However, despite our arrays of laws, from global laws, national laws, even continental laws, we've seen that there is still gender disparity in terms of women participation in politics. We would like to hear from our guests, their opening thoughts on the topic tonight. Thank you. I think we should begin with Ruth. Let's hear your opening thoughts on the topic. Thank you.
All right. I wonder why I'm the one opening when we have a lawyer here. I think she should open because I think she's vast when it comes to law framework. I was even thinking, how many of these laws am I well acquainted with? I've gone through a few of them, but yeah, I could go ahead.
I think you should, and knowing that you've been in that space and
that the topic
working on the field, interacted with people, and I believe you have a wealth of experience.
Yeah. All right. So I wanted to start off by mentioning that I know that this topic is pivotal in the season and the time that we're in. And as much as I have been engaging with different groups, communities, and persons, there is something that always stands out. It's women's participation in politics. And the numbers I'm trying to look for a word. I don't want to use the word small because it is way beyond small for me, because in Nigeria particularly, I am not so versed across Africa, but I know some countries are doing well with women representation in politics. In Africa though, yeah, not even around the globe, but in Africa, some countries are really outstanding. Why?
Yeah.
Nigeria seems to be lagging behind when it comes to women participation in politics. And this season where we find ourselves in is a time to call ourselves to actions, even as women who have been voicing the need for us to be who have been voicing the need for government to be inclusive, to be more inclusive, and have women not just participate, not just be party members, not just be floor members, but key decision take members who can call a shot in among the political space, and their words will go for it. For me, I think this conversation is very important. Women's voice must be heard in political decisions, conversations, even in peace building. And I think there is a gap in that space. I think there is a gap in decision making. I think there is a gap in political discussions, in peace making. Women's voices are very minute in this particular space, and it starts, for me, I think it starts majorly from political participation, because if we have them being represented in some of these political parties, even as oppositions, if they are strong opposition, they don't really have to be in charge or in the administration, but then being in a strong opposition voice could stand out. So these are things that would look out. This conversation goes. I think I lost you there. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you very much, Ruth. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Can we get your opening thoughts, Benedicta? I mean, Ruth has spoken outstandingly well.
Oh yes, definitely. I agree with everything she has said, and like she said, this is a very important time in our political um, space, especially in Nigeria, because we're about to have elections, and there's no better time than now to discuss the role women play in politics and how their participation should be discussed. In discuss. Yeah, thanks.
Sorry.
Hello,
Seems to have lost me.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So I said it's. I agree with everything she has said, and I look forward to having an engaging discourse. I mean, women's role in politics cannot be overstated because they bring a unique blend, a unique view. They bring I mean, developmentally, there's no better time than now for women to engage in politics, and I look forward to an engaging discourse.
Okay. Thank you, Benedicta. Though I struggle to hear you. Um, I don't know if it's from my end, but are we on the call together? Ruth, Benedicta, are you there? Okay. It seems like our poor network in
I
Nigeria
could
is
barely
affecting
hear
us.
you.
Maybe you can barely hear me too. That's serious. Yeah, I was just complaining that I could barely hear you. Well,
Oh,
but
really?
can you hear me? Can you hear me better now?
Oh, yeah, loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. That's awesome. So, okay, Ruth is back from the call. So, I said I could barely hear you, but I believe maybe when women are given equal opportunities as men, maybe such issues will be sorted out. But before we begin, I mean, the topic says bridging gender gap in Africa's political space. The question begs another question, or the topic begs a question, which is, are there gender gaps in Africa's political space? Because if we don't identify or if we don't state that there are gender gaps, then there's no point having a conversation. So I would like to hear from you, Benedicta. The last time we started with Ruth. So what do you perceive are the gender gaps we have in the political space here in Africa? Maybe institutional and legal frameworks, if you have loopholes that are causing gender gaps. That's if you feel there are gender gaps. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Ruth, can you hear her? Okay. I think the network is terrible tonight.
Hello.
Okay, we can hear you, Benedicta.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Benedicta.
Oh, okay. So, thank you. There are lots of gaps, and I'm thankful that we have this forum to discuss what they are. I mean, we have gaps ranging from financial resources to electoral laws to participation in political parties. For example, in political parties, we see that the recruitment networks available to women are not as much as that of men. And this is not an argument against, oh, men are taking over the space or anything, but we just want to find ways to make women more participative, because for every democracy we need engagement, we need participation, we need equal representation. And it doesn't make sense that for most African countries where you have more than half the population as women, you have an underrepresentation of these people in political or as political position holders and the likes, leadership holders and the likes. So, for example, Nigeria, where we have to pass the poll system, and we recently had a constitutional review where all the gender bills were knocked down. These are gaps we have identified, and we brought them forward to Parliament, and they said no. So now the issue is, if we know these gaps are there, why are we not working towards solving them? We have identified them as, okay, resources. Women don't have access to resources as much as men in political parties, and we're asking for, okay, Nigeria has done well in the sense that in this last election, primaries and all, they made it free for women to get political tickets. But I think other African countries, since we're discussing Africa, still are a bit behind, are still lagging behind on that. And then we need, because political parties are an important driver of access for women's participation, we need more voluntary quotas from these political parties to aid women's access to political participation.
Oh,
So yeah,
that's awesome.
so I'll let me discuss on the rest, if you can hear me.
Ruth, do you agree with Benedicta?
Can you hear me?
I don't think I totally agree, but I want to hear from her, so I'm also here to learn, so it's fine.
Okay, let's hear your thoughts on that, Ruth.
So, sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So, the gender gap. It's honestly speaking, I know that we know that there are a lot of gender gaps when it comes to women participation in politics, and I think deeply rooted, way beyond, women availability or being in party and all of that in political parties. But I want to drive it home down to education. I know that I also agree with you when it comes to resources. Yes, the aspect of resources is very key, because that's one major thing that if we are talking about women participation in politics, they ought to be empowered financially, economically, socially, to be able to finance, because honestly speaking, politics is expensive, and in Nigeria it is more expensive. So I agree with you on that. So I want to talk about education, because I feel like it's a gap that has further widened or strengthened the fact that women are not part of political parties or even part of decision-making bodies in Nigeria. So I would drive it home this way, because when you talk about education, most people are like, it's probably the four walls of school. It's way beyond the four walls of school for me, because around our communities, we do centers right now and ask how many local government chairmen have women as administrators. For me, I would go with a zero, but that would be going without facts. But I know that we have something within 10% in Nigeria, local government representation of women in politics. Yeah, that's your local government area. But we say that women are one of the best administrators that's around the globe, but we have less representation of them. But how and why? I keep asking this question. And that's why I came up with education. Because most people, you would ask them, and the first thing, no matter how much you say that a woman, maybe she eventually comes into and even have the resources to finance this and get to that particular position that she might be represented. Do you know the community would not want to vote a woman in? That's the fact. That's a social norm that has come in to dwell with them, that she wouldn't be able to represent. She won't be able to do the job. But have we actually, let me be very sincere with you. I've been in engagements, and after speaking, the women would be like, wow, this is actually why we need to be more involved in the community affairs. At that point in time, they begin to realize why they should play a better role. And that's education. That's the sensitization that I feel like is being made, that have over time been clouded or have not gotten to these communities. And like I say, even our community members ought to be educated, ought to be let know that they need to know that a woman can do this. They can actually do better. If I don't want to use the word, let me be very sincere, most of our local government chairmen don't even know the job they are supposed to do. They're just there for the political space. That's the fact. Hello, can you hear me? Oh, sorry. Hello? I can't hear you.
Yes,
Can
we
you
can hear
join?
you. Sorry. We can hear you, Ruth.
Okay. So I was trying to
Yeah.
drive home the fact that the gap starts with the fact that people are not educated. People don't know that there is a gap to be filled. They don't know that women need to be included. And they don't know that if women are included, it is also for their own benefit, not just for we want to drive home that women should be in politics or women should. No, it's there is a common saying that if a woman is properly empowered, the nation enjoys from it because it is from the family. Most women are known to be caregivers, but it's something that drives from the family and upward to the nation. The economy will definitely enjoy from a woman being part of an administration or being part of a government. It's where I don't want to start citing examples of women who have. I know there are some who may have not done so much, but we see those in mass work that women tend to take
Yeah.
upon themselves to see that development is not just in their community. They start from their community, they go way beyond into the nation. That's how a woman,
Global
that's why
spaces.
women ought to be part of this. And these are the gaps. I'm trying to mention some of these gaps. It's not just in the part of the women not knowing that they can run for these offices. It's also the part of the community members understanding that they have more to gain from women being administrators in their local government. Honestly speaking, these are things that we need to start letting people know, because there is I remember when I saw a post, I think it was on Twitter, where the APC representative for Adamawa State, a governorship election. I know she's the senatorial presently, but she's running for the governorship candidate under APC, under the flag of APC for Adamawa State. And I was like, wow, this is so impressive. And I was going through the comments, and someone said under the comments, I would never vote for this one in my life. I'm like, what? Why? I had to ask the question why, because enlighten
Why?
me. It goes to show how very uneducated he is. You didn't even why? You didn't even check or get to know if she has a good precedent, if she's good at what she
Yeah.
does. Came up with the fact that you wouldn't vote for her because she's just a woman. That's the kind of sensitization. These are people on Twitter
Yeah.
saying,
I love that you mentioned education beyond the four walls of the classroom, because if it was about the classroom, then our legislators should not have thrown away the 5 gender bills. But
Now you're coming for them.
Let's come from there. When you say that you don't want to use a word regarding the administrators, I mean, down to our legislators, they don't even know why they are there. A lot of them don't know why they're there. But let's hear you. What kind of education do you think the society needs that's beyond the classroom now? What kind of how can we educate? How can we enlighten the masses? Because just like you said, we've seen that women play great managerial roles in homes, and then down to businesses. A lot of the larger percentage of MSMEs we have in the country are run by women. And that's what sustains Nigeria's economy. So we see that women are great leaders, women are great managers, but the passing of this knowledge down to the common man has become an issue. So how do you think we can sensitize these people?
You hear me? Hello?
Ruth? Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. So I honestly, I know it's not a day job, but it's something that we all have to collectively start towards. It takes everyone, even if it is a drop of water. They said a drop of water makes an ocean. Water on its own, you informing, but the women, anyone you come in contact with, let them know that they can take up those roles. I think one of the things I know one of the things I'm very much interested in is women inclusion, and it has to start, for me, it has to start with the local communities. Most women are not informed that they can even ask their local government chairman for setting that women be part of his cabinet or part of his council, so that the needs of women and girls are not neglected. Why I'm saying this, I will cite an example with a project in Kano State and how some of this can go. I went through, we're trying to push for the bill for sorry, give me a minute. So we've been trying to push for the VAP art and that's right. We've been trying to push for the VAP art and the child protection bill, as it is called in Kano State, to be passed by the state legislators. And so far, we looked at the legislators and said, who can we speak with that would understand the plight of women and children? And amazingly, because I wanted to lead this conversation, I went through all the list of legislators, and voila, it was all men interested. And I shook my head and said, this is Kano State. Are you trying to tell me there are no women in politics? Are there no women who want to be part of the conversation of things that affect them, of legislative processes, decisions that would eventually affect them? And it was new for me, because I felt, at least go no go, there would be a female figurative there, even if no matter what. But to my surprise, there was the strongest. Hello, are you back?
Yes, we can hear you now. Sorry, we lost you for a minute.
Yeah, I thought as much. So I was
Yes.
trying to
You
let me just wrap
mentioned
up by
that you
saying
thought that at least there would be
one way we can
one
do
woman.
this is by going to communities. Let me wrap up on the question by saying that one way we can start. Can you all hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you, please.
So one way we can all contribute or do the needful is to start off with our very close community, our very close friends, families. Let them know that it will take a while. Let's be very sincere. even development experts knows that have been projecting that for us to achieve gender equality, it would take an extra. We already know that 2030 is here, but
Yeah.
we need to do the work, and it starts with informing the communities. And let me say the truth. As much as you're saying, would they understand? If you bring it to them to the point that they get to understand, use things that are within their reach, things that they can relate with. I promise you, they would be the one to champion that they need to be part of governance processes in their community. So that's my take on that.
Wow, thank you very much. I mean, this were phenomenal words. Thank you so much, Ruth. Before we get to hear Benedicta's thoughts, let me suggest. I attended one meeting organized by NCAC, and they were talking about how to effectively carry out reviews of some health laws, so it will conform with international health regulations. And what they did was that they looked for family members who were medically inclined with legislators. Yeah, so maybe the governor of Kano, for instance, has a daughter who studied medicine. They would reach out to her, engage her, let her know, okay, this is what we want to do. And we believe if Kano State reviews their laws to align with IHR, it will have a fundamental impact on the citizens or the residents of Kano. And then this family, this relative goes ahead to share with the said legislator or executive, and then begin to push it. That's one way you can effectively drive such advocacy, I believe.
Yeah.
So just my
Yeah, I know
suggestion.
such it's called influencing. We go through. Yeah, I get that. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Benedicta, can we hear your thoughts on that? I don't know if you heard the question. Yes.
Oh no, I didn't catch that.
Okay. Well, we're looking at effective means in which we can sensitize the common man in society of the importance of women's participation in politics, because a lot of them have this implicit bias. Some consciously, some unconsciously. They just grow up in society and conform to certain standards of society that women are meant to be in the kitchen or in the other room. I mean, you've
Yeah.
heard an influential person in the country say such. So, how do you go about enlightening people, reorienting their minds on such? I mean, beyond the classrooms, because we have people who have been to universities who have even further down to PhD and still hold such extreme views. Can we hear you? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think an important and invaluable tool is the media. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we
We
can
need
hear you.
more we need more women in political spaces documenting their experiences, talking about how everything has been for them, and getting partners and stakeholders in the media to further talk about these issues. I mean, we have women who are in politics who suffer cyber bullying, who have people tell them they're not supposed to be in that space to do those things. So we need more media stakeholders to who are more gender aware. And now everybody's like the gender neutral. We need more gender aware newscasters, broadcasters. We need women in these spaces to talk about how being in politics affects the common man, and change the biases. The bias. That's it. I think the media is really important.
Wow, that's profound. Documenting their experiences. I
Yes,
mean,
we
I
need
mean,
to
I
document
believe
our
this will go a long
experiences,
way.
the good, the
Yeah.
bad, everything. So more women can learn from these experiences, and moving forward, we can have genuine change, and we can measure this change in the right way. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Benedicta. I will ask this now. What do you think are the adverse effects, the negative effects of gender disparity on Africa's development?
Oh, is that to me?
Yes, to you.
Oh, okay. I mean, any society that performs at half capacity already has a problem. And with women, we have more than 50% of the population as women. So why not have women in these spaces to propagate development, to move the economy, all of that? Like she said, women are better administrators, so why not? So I mean, there's so many ways that women help the development of any community. I mean, when you have women's input, we have reproductive laws, we have health laws that are better, and we have unique insights on these laws. I mean, why not? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Let's hear from you now, Ruth. I don't know if you caught the question. What do you think are the adverse effects of gender disparity on Africa's development?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Could you repeat?
Okay, I said, what do you think are the adverse effects, the negative impact of gender disparity on Africa's development?
Mm. Honestly, we would say that, let's be very sincere. We'll just use Nigeria as a as a landmark. It goes to, let me start with Nigeria, then I can move to Africa. In Nigeria, most of our policies are not inclusive. Yes. Like she had already mentioned, imagine if we have women make their inputs in educational policies. If it is so inclusive in political policies, in so many policies, if we have women, it means that because they are most times they're all rounders, they have to look out for their kids in such policies. You would, even I know as a father, most times you would also look at that angle, but as a woman, you would not just look out for yourself. There's someone else you're also thinking. So it's more, if it is more inclusive, you would tell, okay, we could even tell from the fact, from the way that our government is being run, we're so rigid. Things are not being placed in the open. When asked the question, you get answers like, why are you asking? It shows that, why are you asking? Why, who do you think you are? I'm not saying that sometimes some women wouldn't do that. Let's be very sincere. But I'm saying that there's a need for transparency, and if women are included in some of these, you would see women being more accountable, being more transparent, even though some wouldn't. But these are skills that you would see that children priorities will be placed. When it comes to health, you would see priority being placed for children in some policies, priorities. Yeah, these are things that I think are being missed. And overall, Africa, in the overall sense, in Africa, we can all tell that in Africa there's an underdevelopment, there's a leadership style that have reigned for a long time. And if you look at the styles for most women who are in leadership positions, there's some sort of difference. And imagine if they have held leadership positions from economic positions to major leadership positions that could transform the nation. So we can see how it is telling on us as Africans. We can see how it is reducing the rate of development. We're struggling with gender equality right now. Imagine if women are part of it, there will be a drastic reduction in poverty. Yes, because if women are properly empowered, and that's the inequality issues that we are facing. If women are properly empowered, there will be a drastic reduction in poverty level. Okay, now let's look at it closely from the angle of women being part of, from climate change. If women are educated, if they are properly educated, if women are educated to what, okay, for even secondary school level, imagine the amounts of children, young girls who have been marginalized or taken away from this sphere of education and have not been able to contribute their own quota to the development of the country. These are potentials that are being missed. These are things, leadership position, things that we have missed in the long run. So I think both financially, economical wise, social wise, we have lost a lot, and even down to underdevelopment. That's why we are being faced with so much underdevelopment in rural communities, particularly, and in the nation largely.
Thank you very much. And something profound I got from what you said. Until women get a seat at the table, legislations and public policies cannot be equitable. So we would have one-sided legislation that favors and just promotes even more participation of men in politics. Yeah, someone mentioned that the reason why we have political meetings late at night is because men have been running the system and men want to keep running the system. So by that time, what would the woman be doing outside her house? So that belief that men are and women are caregivers. Sorry.
Would a woman be able to attend such meetings that will be held at night? I said it's because it is not inclusive. That is why it's being held at night. I don't understand what's the day for.
Exactly. But I want to ask, do you think women have shown sufficient willingness to participate? Okay, considering that there is a national, very ambitious, according to my friend, very ambitious national gender policy that states that 35% of public offices should be given to women. Do you think women have shown that willingness to take up these roles to lead in the political space? Let's hear from Benedicta.
You're asking if women have shown a willingness to participate?
Yes, in your own reasoning, your own understanding.
Of course, I think they have. It's just we have so many barriers in place that don't give an opportunity for us to come out en masse. I mean, I was at the office, that's at the National Assembly, after the bills were bounced. And if you see the number of women that were in front of the gates, we had to follow an alternative route. That shows that people are aware that, okay, times have changed. It's not business as usual. We want to be more participatory. I mean, this election season in Nigeria, we have seen people register to vote in numbers that have not been seen before. And I believe that these numbers include, more than half of them include women. So why not? We are very, very available to participate. We just need people to see that, okay, there are barriers that are in place and we need them to be worked on for us to exercise our legal rights better. That's it. I think we're very capable and able to do what we should.
Now, I think we should talk about these barriers. Because
there are so many.
Oh my!
There are so many.
Yeah. Let's
be here till tomorrow.
well, we could list a few. I know there is religious and cultural practices, but let's hear from you. What do you think are these barriers that have hindered women's participation, so as a blockade to women's participation in politics? Anybody can go.
Sorry, I didn't get that. So I can.
The barriers to women's participation in politics.
Yes.
Okay, I think for me, I think the media is very important. It's a huge barrier because I feel reporting has been one-sided for the longest time. We don't have people reporting on, like, I mean, of the women appearing or coming out for electoral positions, we barely have any information on them. It's so one-sided, and I think the media is so profit-driven now. So they just follow people they think have the best chance of, performing and get clickbait and follow backs and all. So I think we should use the media as a tool. So yeah.
Now you've talked about the media as a problem and as a solution. So
Yeah.
Let's hear from Ruth. Let's hear from Ruth.
I like the fact that she keeps mentioning the media.
Yeah.
I like that because, like she said, they literally do very few pieces on women in politics or women running for political positions. That's because they feel that women don't have the chances. yeah, based on these barriers. And you already mentioned cultural and religious barriers. I want to include the
religious.
economic barrier. Yeah, I want to include the economic barrier. I know that part of the policies that was bounced by the National Assembly was the 35% inclusion of women. And even in leadership position in political parties, imagine if women are in leadership position in political parties. I am very sure that to a large extent we'll have a lot of women running for political parts, running for political positions such as governorship candidates, even deputy. Very few women are even running for deputy positions, even though even in I think I'm not sure we have so much women running for governorship position or a governor as parents. But like I said, I want to mention have I mentioned the socio-economic, yeah, financial aspect of it, because
Yeah.
I am using Nigeria as a case study because politics in Nigeria is monetary. Yes, it is. And we must understand that these people spend so much to get into that position. And if they have to spend that much to get into a position where they ought to serve, yes, where they ought to serve, what do you think they would do when they eventually get there? And that's why it's a challenge, why it remains a male, if a male, because most people would think
Related.
the male candidate will be able to access some of those funds back. And let me be very honest, people invest in people running for political positions. I know this is all across the world. Yes,
Yes, yes.
investments. Maybe you're not aware. This is, I know you're laughing because you're aware. It's some sort of an investment for them because probably they would be awarded with one position or the other, or even a contract. It's not
Exactly.
something to hide. We all know this, so we should just talk about it and be open about it. Yeah, so I really want to mention the financial part of it. I feel it's a very huge barrier that has held most women down in running for political positions, even when they know that they have a lot to offer. And if some of them say, if I have to go like this into this position, spending so much, how would I recover? It's better to stay away than to spend or lose at the end and still have nothing to get. So it's a big problem. If political parties, like, let's mention their names, APC was taking presidential candidate for 100 million, please. How many governors, most of the governors or the candidates that paid that 100 million, please, what are their salary, community salary up to that amount? Where are they getting that money from? Let's be asking these questions sometimes. I like to ask such questions. Where do they get 100 million from to buy, is just to buy the ticket though? We still have a campaign to run. So let's be very
The
realistic
threshold has
about
even
this.
been
And you want women
increased.
to be part of
The
political.
threshold for campaign has been increased.
Thank you. And you want women to participate. Let's be very sincere with ourselves. Let's be realistic. And then APC will say they cut it into half for women and for youth to be 50 million. Wow. Thank you for being so kind and inclusive. Yeah, so that's it for me.
Thank you very much. It's quite funny that we're complaining that elections, politicking, is expensive in Nigeria, and then you see
Yeah.
the recent electoral act being amended to increase the threshold for for the monetary threshold for campaigns. I'm like, wow, wow. We're complaining about tickets. A lot of people don't know how much money the country loses to campaigns. Well, um, before I ask for concluding thoughts, I was going to ask ways in which we could bridge this gender gap. But in between our conversations, I think we've highlighted some of the ways in which we can bridge the gender gaps. And we talked about community sensitization. Benedicta talked about media, the use of the media, very strategic too, because what people watch or people listen to sinks deeper than what they read. Yeah, and hardly do we even have people who read in this part of the world. Yeah. To the audience, if you've got any questions, please you can just drop it before we take concluding thoughts. You can ask our guest, our amazing guest, any question whatsoever regarding the topic bridging gender gap in Africa's political space. Yeah. So while we are waiting for questions, if any would come in, I would ask now for more suggestions on ways in which we can bridge the gender gap, get more women to participate, and also hold our legislators responsible for promises made, because women constitute a large percentage of voters in Nigeria. So before the elections, you see politicians coming to promise, okay, we'll do this for you, we'll take good care of you. And how do we hold them accountable for these promises?
I was going to contribute when you're done.
Please go on.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. We just mentioned the fact that culture and religion are some sort of barriers to women participating. And yeah, I read up and I saw some articles that shows that some religion do not allow women to take up head leadership positions. And as true as that might be, but that does not hinder women to take up decision-making positions. See, the decisions that your rural governments would take affects you. It affects your family, it affects where you live. That is why women have to be part of the decision-making process.
Yeah.
That is why their voices have to be on the table. And I wanted to talk about the culture. How can we bridge this gap looking from the space of even culture and religion? Let's be very sincere. Our religious leaders need to tell us the truth that women having leadership position is not a religious problem. It doesn't hinder our religion. It doesn't hinder us from communicating with God. I don't know how best to say this. I know it's something that have been embedded. Let's take our two religion for instance, the both religion. We know that both Muhammad and both Jesus Christ had women who were part of their leadership roles during their time. So it might look like something it might look like something that we should be dragging about when it comes to religious debates, women participating in governance position. Let's be very sincere with ourselves. Religion is not the problem. It is because over time it has been a cultural norm or a social norm, something that probably we haven't seen happen, and then it looks to us that it is out of our league or something that women shouldn't be part of. That's not true. We need to drive it home. Yes, we need to drive this truth home. We need to let people see that it is not a religious problem. It is probably a thing that has hindered us for way long. And for traditions and for such things to be broken, it doesn't take a day. Like I said, we need to start communicating these facts to our community members. We need to start communicating these facts to even our parents. Sometimes let them see that women can take up those roles and do amazingly well.
Okay. Ruth, are you here?
Yeah, I'm done.
Benedicta, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Seems like we lost Ruth. But there's a question here. I think Benedicta, you should jump on it by Yax JBN. He's actually said, nice spot. Kudos to you all. God bless. However, I have a question. Please, what do you mean by women should be empowered? And if religion is a barrier, should we stop religion because I believe it's because of a gender, yeah. Because a gender wants to be a player. So could you react to that?
Okay, Mr. Yax. We're not saying, okay, there's something I read somewhere that said culture will eat strategy up every time, right? So if we're going to be strategic, we understand that people hold cultural values and religious values at the highest esteem, right? So whatever strategy we're going to use should be respectful of people's religious and cultural beliefs while trying to be change agents. Say this because if you want to be a change agent, you have to religiously, for example, you can communicate with pastors, imams, and important people in society, relevant stakeholders, to tell their people or converse with their people and tell them it's not wrong for women to be in these positions. And I think from there we can lead. I hope that answers his question. Women should be empowered. What do you mean by women should be empowered? That's a funny question. I think everywhere we hear, oh, women empowerment, women empowerment. I think it speaks to the barriers we have mentioned already, that there are barriers in place that negate what women can offer in society. And I think it just goes to show more light and shine more light on the plight of women and how women can come out and be better in society. That's it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much, Benedicta. And just to add, he asks, women don't just want to be a player. Women have every right to be a player because these policies also affect them. Sorry, did you hear me? I said these policies also affect them. These rules, these legislations also affect them. So you can't have one gender making policies and rules that would affect everybody. That goes against the cause of democracy. Goes against the cause of democracy. And Nigeria being the leading economy in Africa with the largest oil reserve. we must lead by example. We must show other African nations that okay, this is the standard. And we're not saying let's trample upon cultural practices or religious beliefs. These cultural practices were formed. It started from somewhere, right? But for religious practices, we're not saying we want to trample upon them. We're talking about a collaboration, like Benedicta said. Talk to the imams, talk to the pastors. People you need to sensitize are the religious and the traditional leaders. Now, not to change the religion or to change the religious belief, right? Because if you check deep within, you would see that the religions are not even against what we're advocating for. They're not against what we're advocating for. It is our implicit bias that has caused us to see it that way. So it is a collaboration between the civil societies, government, and the stakeholders, primarily the cultural leaders, the traditional leaders, and the religious leaders. Sensitize your people. Let them know that these things are not wrong in general. Now, these things are not wrong. These things are for our own development as a nation. We have women teachers in schools as our secondary school teachers, our primary school teachers, even as our lecturers. Now, why are you not willing to have a woman lead you as a president? If you are comfortable with having her teach you, why can't you have her as your president? It shows that there's a bias somewhere. There's a bias somewhere, and it's not religion stopping you. It's not religion stopping you. It's society, it's cultural norms, it's beliefs that we came to see, and it was bettered from somewhere. It came from somewhere, and yes, there has been growth. There has been progression. The world is advancing. We won't deny that the world is making progress, but we also want to contribute to the growth and development of society by doing our own part, playing our own beat. So let's hear closing thoughts from Ruth and Benedicta. So I think Ruth should go first, then from Benedicta. Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So I would just close by saying that, most times people are always saying we're always asking for gender equality and so much. It's not as though it's something that someone just woke up and decided to, because there is a need for it. And it is not a personal need. People need to understand why women have to be active, not just even passive. People need to be brought to that light why women should, like you cited, if I can have a woman teach me in school and I pass, and if we check even women in teaching institutions, from primary school down to the to a higher institution, we have them over 70%, although they are lesser in the higher institution. It just goes to tell you how over time we've been construed to believe certain things. And now is the time, like I said when I started, there is no other better time to talk about this gap and the need to bridge it, and the need for community members, the need for you, for me to understand why women have to be part of policy making, decision making. So it has to be inclusive. That's the essence of democracy. And for resources to be allocated properly when it comes to financial resources, even actions of women, this is the need. This is the final for us. Women have to be part of this decision making. They have to be on the table. They have to be with those making the decisions and make their inputs. And it will affect us. It affects everyone. Imagine if your parents, if your it's an all-round thing. So let's stop. There's a need for everybody, for everyone to be properly represented, and women ought to be represented on the table. That's it for me.
Thank you very much. That was profound. Can we hear from you, Benedicta?
Sorry,
Your closing thoughts.
well, like she said, we've mentioned enough things like finances, inclusion. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
My ear. Hi, hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, my name is 40. Active participants in this space, and thank you.
I think we lost him there. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I think
Sorry.
we
Is
lost
your
you
network
at some
has gone
point.
back?
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I can hear you. So, like I said, super excited that we have identified the barriers, which are finances, political party inclusion, being part of it. Or less than, hopefully, the next 4 years, next year. The next election season, we'll see more women, more young people, more people with disabilities appearing and being participants in their politics.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Benedicta. That was really profound. If you're watching, one of our speakers said something. She said it is the little drops that makes the ocean. It is the little drops that makes the ocean. So you have a part to play. We all have our parts to play to see Africa get better, to see Nigeria get better. If you can trust, you can ask your mom for certain advice. It's your mother, you can ask her for certain advice. I don't think a woman would also lead well when given the opportunity to. So in our own little spaces, we advocate for women's inclusion, because until women are given a seat on the table, then we are being unfair and unjust to them. Thank you very much, Ruth. Thank you, Benedicta, for joining in tonight. I mean, I had a swell time conversing with you both. I believe you also had a good time.
Husbands and sons.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yes, and we hope to do this more with you, to just maybe have another session with you, God's willing. And thank you, Yakubu Wagner. Thank you, Uche Chuku, Michael. Thank you, Dominion, Raymond. Thank you for joining in and for staying with us till this very moment. Don't just listen, but put action what you've learned, what you've heard tonight. Thank you, and do have a rest of the night, everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.